Hello students, as we learned about the geometry in previous classes, so today in this session for class 9th we are going to learn about Euclid's geometry. Chapter number 4, Introduction to Euclid's geometry. So what is the Euclid's geometry? Let's understand this. As we know that geometry is a Greek word which consists of two words, geo and metrine. Geo that means measurement and metrine that is earth. Geo that is earth and metrine is measurement. So that means geometry is nothing but it is the measuring land. Nearly 5000 years ago, geometry originated in Egypt as an art of earth measurement, and the knowledge of this geometry passes from Egyptians to the Greeks, and many Greek mathematicians worked on the geometry. So now we can say this is the branch of mathematics deals with the questions of shapes, size, relative position of figures and the properties of space. So as the word says, geometry is geo and metrine, measurement, and geo is earth, measurement of. Is it so that this meaning of this geometry is only the measurement of earth? It's about only the measurement of land? No, it is far more beyond this now. Far more beyond this now. So now the word geometry is not only the measurement of land, it is far more beyond this meaning at present. So it is not the measurement only, it is about proving the certain statements. In the field of geometry, as we have the many mathematicians who worked for geometry, one of the most first famous mathematician, Thales, whose work in the field of geometry by the statement of a circle is bisected by its diameter. He was the first person who told at that time that the circle is bisected by its diameter. That means the diameter divides the circle, as in the present time we know diameter divides the circle into two equal parts. This result given by the famous mathematician Thales. The one of the pupil of Thales, who was also done work in the field of geometry, as we know him very well by its famous Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras, he is the one of the most famous people, could an extensive work on geometry, continued his work till 300 BC. At this time, when the Pythagoras was working on the geometry, one more maths teacher of Egypt was also working in the field of geometry, and the teacher now at present we know him as father of geometry. He has changed the geometry, and now what we are learning the geometry is the greatest work done by Euclid. That's why we know him, or we called him as father of geometry. What he has done in the field of geometry, he has collected all the well-known facts, and that facts he forms the famous treatise which was mean as element, and these elements are the written documents that divided into 13 parts. So all his work or all his contribution for geometry is in the 13 parts which was collected by Euclid, and each of these elements separately are now called as a book. So these elements are 13, the one book. That means the geometry is in these 13 books. What was the thoughts, what was the statements, what was the proof in the field of geometry given by the Euclid, all we can get in these 13 books. So all of these books has great impact on today's world of geometry. In today's session, we will learn what Euclid did change of world of geometry, what he has changed the geometry at present, what was the impact on the geometry. Today we are going to learn. So let us learn Euclid's approach towards geometry, and let connect what we learned today as geometry. So what was the Euclid's approach towards the geometry? That is the abstract model of surrounding the time. Whatever present in the surrounding, about that observing, and he finalize particular statement or a fact. It was written in his element, that 13 books. So abstract models, what are these abstract models? It means that it was all his thoughts. So the approach towards a geometry is nothing but the thoughts of the Euclid by just looking at surrounding, and it doesn't have any concrete existence or proof. Whatever he looks around him, he just wrote about that without concrete proof or without its existence. So what are these? What is a line? What is a point? And what is a surface? All these terms and other various objects related in the field of geometry, he gave the statements for all just by looking around in the world. Let us consider a solid which has 6 faces. Each faces has line and have 2 points, as we know that. When the way we moved down, we lose an extension that solid is a 3-dimensional shape, and the solid made by the 2D surfaces, that surfaces are 2-dimensional. This 2-dimensional surface is made by lines. So this line is nothing but it is a 1-dimensional, and this line contains points. That means line made by joining 2 points, as we can say now. So that means a point which has no dimension. So Euclid has given all these and started his detailed description about all the observations from his surrounding, about his thoughts, by 23 definitions in his book One Element. So whatever the description given by the Euclid in the field of geometry, that is in the book One Elements. So the thoughts given by the Euclid in the field of geometry, one of the thought point is that which has no part the same time we can say a point which has no dimension. A line is breadthless length, that means line which has no breadth. The ends of a line are points. So here the point, and this is the point which is the ending and starting point. So that means we can say the ends of a line are points. All these thoughts are given by the Euclid. The edges of a surface are a line, and also he gave the statements that a surface is that which has a length and breadth only. That means is surface, this is the surface, it has length and breadth only. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. So on the line there are points evenly distributed on the line. So he said that the straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself, like this. All these are points lies in a line. And a plane surface, so this plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight line. So on the surface we can draw the lines which are evenly spread on the surface. So the surface is nothing but it is the lines evenly spread on it. So like this, a plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. Now here, as we are observing, and just when we think about all these statements, all these definitions are very simple to understand about the line and surface and point and other terms. But still, some terms are here which need to further define, like part. A point is that which has no part. What is the meaning of this term part? Breadth, length, breadth and length. Points, undefined. These are more extend to understand the meaning of these terms. Line, plane, all these are undefined terms. So we need to define further two specific meaning. To get specific meaning, what Euclid wants to say from these statements. So here, all these are the properties, that all the statements in the previous slide was the statements, and all we can say these were the properties, and which are not be proved, that a line, for the line, for the point, for the surface and other objects, but they are the properties which need not to prove. Is it so? Yes. Obviously, all the statements are universal truth. What he said, that was correct. So, universally, these statements was taken true. So, we can say all the statements are the universal truth. Without proof, they accept it. So, these properties, what we learned about the point, line, surface, all these properties has assumptions. So these were the assumptions which are made strictly basis on the geometry. So all the properties in the previous slide we studied, that is made strictly basis on the geometry, and some properties are there assumptions were based on in general mathematics and not specifically based on geometry. So some statements are strictly based on the geometry, some are not. So the assumptions which are strictly based on the geometry are known as postulates, whereas the assumptions which are not strictly made by specifically based on the geometry are called axioms. So here the meaning of axioms, 7 axioms given by the Euclids. So these are the 7 axioms which was given by Euclid in the geometry and we know as Euclidean axioms. So things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. There is no need to prove this statement. So this is known as axiom, the statement which need not to prove. If equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. This is also true. If equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are equal. This is not based on strictly on the geometry, on the basis of geometry. These are not strictly based on the geometry and need not to prove also. Things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. This is also a universal truth. The whole is greater than the part, and things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another also. Things which are half of the same things are equal to one another. So all these are Euclid's axioms. So now let us understand what is the meaning of the axiom. This word axiom is derived from the Greek word axioma. That meaning is true without needing a proof. So the axiom is the statement. It is a true statement without proof. A mathematical statement which we assume to be true without a proof is called an axiom. Therefore, they are statements that are stand alone and indisputable in their origins. In similar words, or in simple words, we can say these are the truths that forms the basis for all other derivations and have been derived from the basis of everyday experiences. In another words, we can say these are the daily experiences. In addition to this, there is no evidence opposing them. It is important. So here are some postulates given by the Euclids, known as Euclid's 5 postulates. As we know that the assumptions which are made strictly basis on the geometry. So all these are known as postulates. The straight line can be drawn from any one point to another point. A terminated line can be further reduced indefinitely. A circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. All right angles are equal to one another. If a straight line falling on two other straight lines makes the interior angle on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles, then the two straight lines, if produced indefinitely, meet on the side on which the sum of the angles is less than two right angles. So let us understand this postulate. What is saying? A straight line falling on two other straight lines. Suppose these two straight lines are there. And one line falling on it. So the side where the angle on same side of this, or we can say the interior angle on the same side of this second line are the less than 180 degree. So these two angles are less than 180 degree. So at this direction these two lines will intersect to one another. This is the meaning of the fifth postulate of Euclid, and it's very important postulate. So in this session we learn about Euclid's geometry, that what are the assumptions given by the Euclid's and what was his written work that are known as elements, and the axioms and postulates given by the Euclids.